because it definitely took me from a place where I was like, I make websites to like, I can change the world basically. And everywhere in between. And it's hard work, but all that inner work really, it sets you up to feel like you can do this and you can make this business happen. And I think like through the process of it, you really build a lot of confidence in what you're doing.
Hey, Delisha Ivins here, and I'm here on behalf of Mike Shreve and the No Pants Project, and today I have the awesome pleasure of talking with Miss Jackie Zimmerman, and Jackie is here today with us, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her MPP journey and freelancing. So welcome to the No Pants Show, Jackie.
Thank you for having me.
Jackie, where are you joining us from today?
I am from the Mitten State, so born and raised in Michigan.
The Mitten State. Is that like, why is it called the Mitten State? Just because it's cold?
Because it looks like a mitten.
That's what I was thinking. I just wanted to make sure I was saying that right. That's pretty cool. So tell me a little bit about your MPP superpower.
So it actually took me a little while to figure it out, which I think is pretty common. And then once I thought that I had it, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and it showed me I was completely wrong, and I basically started over again. So where I have ended up today is that my superpower is combining my skills with digital marketing and also the skills that I have from working in nonprofits and founding a nonprofit to help them improve their digital marketing, mostly to prevent a lot of those really silly mistakes that I see a lot of organizations making, but ultimately to help them gain donor trust and gain more donations.
That's pretty cool. So you're kind of helping them from the digital marketing aspect, helping nonprofits, helping them clear up their marketing efforts and be concise and be clear and direct in those efforts so that they can get more donations and stuff. Is that what I'm understanding?
Right. So consistency across the board, whether it's their brand, their tone, their messaging, making sure that what they do is forefront on their website. I can't tell you how many websites I go to where what they do, their mission, their programming is like buried in pages on their website. So just making sure that, I think the Charity Center said there's something like 15 million nonprofits or something like that. So, there's a lot of clutter to get through. So the idea is making sure that when somebody finds you and they're interested in your mission, that they take the time to get to know you, but they don't have to go digging for that information.
Most definitely. Wow, I didn't realize there were that many. That's a lot of clients for you to work with. So how are you enjoying freelancing so far?
I love it. I mean, it's everything I dreamed it would be, but mostly just because I really need a lot of flexibility in my life. I love being able to make my own schedule and schedule calls when I want to and work when I want to. And I'm sort of the camp of following an ultradian rhythm throughout my days. So it's like 90 minutes on, like 30 minutes off. And I have the freedom to do that. And I think my productivity is really high because of that. So I like all of the things.
Nice. So tell me, what are some of the goals that you have so far with building your freelancing business and using freelancing in your lifestyle?
The goals are mostly just to be able to remain self-sustaining. So I left a really stressful job and I've been freelancing kind of on and off for like 12 years, but I never thought that I could make it my full-time career. I was not stable enough, or health insurance, or all of these things that scared me away from it. And now that I'm here, the goal is just basically to stay here, which maybe is a little bit, aiming a little bit low. But I really like having a freelancer lifestyle, and I want to be able to sustain the lifestyle that I have and find room for growth at my own pace. So as opposed to, shooting for promotions in a company or something, basically being able to scale when I want to, work with who I want to, when I want to.
Most definitely. And there's so much room to do that. Like, I mean, even just even like once you kind of get, I can't remember, there was a really great quote, but it was something about like when you feel like you're comfortable, you're not really growing. It's like when you get to that point where you start to feel like really comfortable, then it might be time to like try to push a little more and see like what else you can do or what else you can learn or how else you can help or, you know, how else you can grow or can you figure out how to make more money in less time so you can have even more time off. So I definitely get you. Sustainability is key.
Well, and I feel like that quote is sort of the story of my life in terms of aiming too low. So I have a bad habit of basically going for the things that I know that I will do really well. And that is a total comfort zone of, I'm going to aim for this one. I know I'm going to kill it and I'm going to be great. But where I found in freelance, at least right now, is that's a lot of the lower paying clients. So I'm in this space right now where I'm working on aiming higher for bigger clients so I can make more money and do all those really cool things that I want to do, but just at a larger scale.
Most definitely. Yeah. And you'll get there because you're killing it. So tell me a little bit about what was life like before No Pants? Like I know you said that you were freelancing a little bit on and off. What were you kind of doing beforehand?
So in a former life, I have done a lot of different things, but have all kind of intertwined. I've done digital communications. I've done branding. I've been a brand manager. I used to design greeting cards. But in my latest iteration, I was a recruiter for patient programs. So I have, I also have a really steady background in patient advocacy. I've been a patient advocate myself for 12 years. So I have a lot of connections with patients, with nonprofits, which is kind of how I got here. But before that, I was working with patients, and I took a job that sort of turned into recruiting, which I probably wouldn't have actually agreed to do, just because it's not really my thing. But I found myself doing it, and it's very high stress, and it's very short-term deadlines. And I have multiple sclerosis, and I had my first relapse in 7 years earlier this year. And so that was kind of a moment where I decided to reassess a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things being my job. And so I started really thinking about, I had seen ads actually for the No Pants Project, and I was kind of pushing it off a little bit because signing up meant I was really willing to actually invest in myself, and that was too scary at that time. So when things in my job got really crazy, I was so mad one day that I just signed up, and I was like, I'm doing this. And then with the intention of like working while doing the program, and then things kind of blew up, and 2 weeks later I quit my job. And I was like, well, this is what I'm doing now. So I'm very fortunate in that I'm recently married, and my husband is very supportive. So he was like, you hate that job, quit that job. We will figure out a way to do what we need to do. And so I've been really fortunate in being able to use all of those skills that I learned in the past, but have the freedom to do the course at the pace that I want to do it.
Mm-hmm. No, and then I think like you just nailed it. Having somebody in your life that can support you in that is super, that's key. I know like for me, it was a big, big component, and it still is, in trying to build a lifestyle and trying to build a business that, can help support yourself or the both of you or, members of your family, like just having their support and knowing that somebody else has got your back because, learning to do something new can be hard, and like learning how to have faith in yourself that you can pull all these pieces of you out of the air and like compile them into like this big mesh up of something super awesome takes a lot of courage. So kudos to your husband for being that guy. Good for him.
Yeah, he's a pretty good dude. And right now he's not super happy in his job, so that's part of my motivation too. Is
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him to feel like he's carrying us now, and so I want to be able to be like, well, one day you can quit your job because I got us now. And so that's a big motivator for me right now, is making sure that I can sort of give him back what he gave to me in a time when I was really unhappy.
Well, yeah, no, that's cool. So, when you were working the job and everything before, were you working like full time? You were working like 40 hours a week? You
I
said that
was
you were kind of stressed out.
Yeah, I was probably working more than 40 hours a week just because of the quick turnarounds and deadlines that, 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, we need this by 9 a.m. on a Wednesday kind of thing.
Ugh, sorry. So that's nuts. So did you, when you you got all angry and you clicked and you bought MPP, and you'd obviously like seen the webinar about the superpower and stuff. Did you know like what your superpower is going to be? Like you said you kind of had an idea of what you thought it was going to be going in.
I had no idea, honestly. So looking back, when I came into the program, I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to build websites for local businesses. Done. That's what I plan to do. And literally in the first course of the first week, Mike said something about it's not about the service that you deliver. It's about what you are providing for your clients. And he said it much more eloquently. But the way that he said it was sort of this like brain bomb where I was like, oh my God, he's right. Like, I'm not just going to build websites for people. Like, I have to be able to tell them I'm going to offer them better marketing and a larger reach and a guarantee to their clients and all of these, fancy marketing things that I was completely not thinking about at the time. So coming in, I had no idea. And through the exercises that we did, which truthfully, I didn't know what I was getting into when I signed up, but in a really good way, where I signed up because I needed help with like the business of things. Like I said, I never thought I would do this full time. And so I was nervous about all the businessy kinds of things versus like just 1099ing my way through life. What I didn't know that I was going to get was this whole, like all the inner work that you do in the beginning, which was so great and unexpected and hard and useful and like great, all of these things, because it definitely took me from a place where I was like, I make websites to like, I can change the world basically. And everywhere in between. And it's hard work, but all that inner work really, it sets you up to feel like you can do this and you can make this business happen. And I think like through the process of it, you really build a lot of confidence in what you're doing because you get there in this kind of organic way where he gives you the worksheet, but by the end of the worksheet, you're like, look at how great I am. I do all this stuff. I kill it all the time. So, I mean, I thought that I knew, but like I had no idea in terms of superpower, what that actually means. I had no idea what that meant.
That's crazy. No, I know. And like everybody I talk to, it's so fun. Everybody's like, the first 2 weeks, oh my gosh. So I like was thinking earlier, I was like, you could totally just segment that out as a mini program and sell that separately. And it would just be fun for like so many levels of people. No, it's great. And I'm totally with you. Like I know when I got the course, it was kind of the same thing. I was buying it for the business, just like the business setup part of it. And I was not expecting those first 2 weeks. And they're by far one of my favorite parts of the program. So tell me a little bit about your confidence going in. Like you're all angry and stuff's going crazy and you're like, I can do this. Or were you just like, I have no idea what I'm doing right now?
So I know I'm confident in my skills, right? I knew that I was like, I know how to design things. I know how to build brands. I know how to market. I know how to connect with patients. Like when you make this huge list of all of your skills,
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of really diverse skills, but I know that I know how to do them. Like I'm confident in that. Was I confident in my ability to like get clients and deliver on what I said that I would in my best way, or, I don't know if I was, right? I was really nervous about it, but in the course, there's so many things also that I didn't even think about. So it wasn't even just like, how do you get a client? It was like, how do you retain them? How do you keep them coming back? How do you get them to want to work with you in multiple projects and bigger projects? How do you upsell them? All of those things that I was 100% not thinking about because I was angry. And also I was like, I've freelanced before. I know what I'm doing. I did not know what I was doing. I mean, like freelancing when you're like just designing business cards for somebody every once in a while is not the same as making this like your entire career. And that's one thing that actually I've been talking with my husband about a lot lately because he's in sales. And I hate sales. That is my least favorite thing, like in the entire world. I hate sales. And how when you make the dive from like, I dabble in freelancing to I want to be a full-time freelancer, you have to learn how to sell yourself. And I think that's something that those first couple weeks really help you with because like I said, I could make you a website, but I couldn't tell you what that would really do for you. And that's where selling really comes in and you have to learn how to do that. And I think you get a lot of the verbiage from that, from like the exercises that you do.
Yeah, most definitely. But it's not like super salesy stuff. Like it's learning how to like I think be confident in your skills and there's even like a whole section on like the humble brag, like how to be confident in your skills and how to tell people how you're gonna help them. But it's like from a place of like servitude of like wanting to help and wanting to save, not like let me tell you how I'm gonna pitch this, and this service, you know. So I definitely like that part of it because it's not like creepy, sleazy sales, which is obviously working well for you because I just recently saw your post that you've got what going on, like 4 clients or something. What is going on with you right now?
I have a lot of really cool things going on, which is like, if I can give advice for 4 seconds, it would be when you're doing this program, just to be really open to whatever comes your way. Because, like I said, I came into this going, I'm going to build websites. And what I'm currently doing is building websites for a couple people, but I'm also doing so many other things that I couldn't even have wrapped my brain around was like a thing people would pay you to do. So I'm working with an app out of San Francisco that actually gives people bathroom access through like you open the door with your app, and they were looking for a patient. I also have inflammatory bowel disease, and I've been advocating in that space for a really long time. And so they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we would really like you to help us build this app and make sure that it is friendly with patients and that they feel included. And also, will you help us build an ambassador program to get patients on board?" Which is something that, like, again, I know how to do that. I've done that. But could I have told you that I know how to build an ambassador program before? No, definitely not. But now I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to recruit. I know how to make the materials. I do manual design. I do, outreach. Like, I know how to do all of these things. So that's a really cool thing that happened. And then I reached out to Lumosity myself to just say, hey, I think you guys have a really great product, and I want to know if you've connected with patient communities who are worried about losing brain cognition. Because if you haven't, I think there's a huge market there for you where you benefit and they also really benefit. And they reached out to me and said, hey, let's have a chat. So we did, and they were sort of like, yeah, we would really like your help in reaching out to patients and in our philanthropic arm, and let's keep in touch and figure out how we can make this happen. So there's just left and right, all kinds of like really, building websites for nonprofits. And actually, I have another friend who basically asked me to help build him a business plan to become a public speaker about mental health, and just all these skills that I have that I didn't realize that I had from working and from founding a nonprofit, that just have sort of word vomited into the world, into all these really great opportunities that, like I said, I couldn't have wrapped my brain around before I was really here. And these are all things that have kind of just come to me. Like, I haven't really been seeking outward yet, because I really wanted to focus on the program. I didn't want to like get 100 clients and then feel overwhelmed and not be able to finish. So it makes me really excited for when I'm like ready to tell the world that I'm doing things and to see what comes my way. But in the interim, there's just a lot of really cool projects that I am privileged to be working on right now.
So for those people who are watching who don't know, I know who Lumosity is, but can you just kind of give us a quick overview of what they do?
Sure. Lumosity is a program or an app or online website. It's a website. And what they do is they offer brain games. So you can log in and they'll serve you up 4 or 5 games a day to help you with brain cognition. And so there's data that shows like how you're doing in terms of like different areas like attention and problem solving and math and all these things. And then it scores you as you go. So you can see like when you started, where you were, and, today, how, if there's a difference. And so for me with MS as a brain disease, I'm always worried about losing brain function. So, when people work out their bodies as adults, we never work out our brains, right? As kids we do, but we don't as adults. And so for me, I needed to find a way to at least feel like I was making a proactive move in that measure.
Mhm.
So I signed up for Lumosity and I really enjoyed it. Like the games are fun. There are some that drive me insane, but what makes me want to keep getting better at them. And then being able to see your scores in those games improve and get better. To me, I feel like it's doing what I need it to do. And that's why I wanted to make them reach out to other patients. And I'm going to a conference in a couple weeks. I got a scholarship to go to a conference, which was really cool. And I reached out to Lumosity and I said, hey, there's going to be a ton of patients there. You should probably connect with these people. I'll get you in touch with them. And they're giving out free like couple month trials to the patients that are going to be at this conference.
Whoop, whoop. Look at you making a difference. That's awesome. That's super cool. So, man, you're still going through the program. What week are you in right now? Just curious.
So I'm mishmashing between week 7 and 9.
Okay. All right, cool. So you haven't completed the program yet, but you're already kind of getting, you're kind of getting this inbound like influx of some clients and kind of figuring out where you are. So I feel like you're becoming pretty clear and what's about to occur for you. But I feel like definitely in the next few weeks and the next few months, like it's at some point it's going to like zing, and then it's all going to be like, whoa. And it's going to be even bigger than what you're seeing right now, which is going to be fantastic. Cause it's like one of the benefits of being in MPP all the time is I get to sit back and watch everybody blossom. And it's like my favorite thing.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I got hung up for there in a little while on some things that I was really kind of like struggling with in terms of, all the imposter syndrome that everybody has, right? Am I good at this? Like, are people going to like this? And so it hung me up for a little while, but I'm sort of back into it. And that's one of the things that I like the most about the program is, one, it's not like if you need to take a week or two off, anybody like shames you. Everybody's like, welcome back when you come back. And then the other thing, like the sort of shining light through the whole program for me is that if you get through the whole thing and the business that you invest in just doesn't happen the way that you think it's going to, you can just do it all over again and like do a new business. Having the all access to all the materials to start a new one or expand or create a second one, whatever you want to do, is really exciting. And that's actually my plan, is to do a second one starting in like Q1 of next year. Is I want to do a coaching business, which is also something I thought I was going to start on when I started this program, but it just didn't make sense at the time. So I'm really excited to have. The Facebook group was really helpful because there's always people posting and seeing other people sharing their stories about, I had to take time off, or I flew through the first 6 weeks and now I'm stuck. Like, it makes it very real. It also makes you feel far less like you're the only one who's struggling if you do struggle.
Right on. So you were working like 40, 45 hours a week probably, and then doing some stuff on the side. Like, how many hours a week do you work now? Like kind of give us some numbers of like, what does a day look like in the life? Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to re-say that. What does a day look like in the life of Jackie now?
Now, I mean, I don't work nearly as much as I did before because I am able to set boundaries with myself. When I first started, I had no boundaries and I was just like, all the weeks, all the things, because I was really amped about it, which I think if you're really amped, like, it's fine, because it was like fun things that I felt like I was being productive in. But now I wake up at 7:30, which for a while there I was rolling out of bed straight at 9 because I was like, I set my own schedule. I wake up when I want to. But I have since seen that when I do that, I'm not actually getting into work until like 11, which doesn't feel good for me. So I wake up at 7:30. I kind of like dink around for honestly about 2 hours where I read a little bit or I stretch or I eat and I, listen to a podcast or, what other things that I want to do in the morning that kind of wake my brain up but don't feel overwhelming. I don't check social media until about 9 because I found out that was like, I'd look at my phone, see my emails, and immediately feel dread and anxiety. So I don't even sleep with my phone in my room anymore. So, and then by the time, one of those morning things I do is write my schedule for the day. So the things I know I need to get done and the needs and the wants in the order. And then I follow that ultradian rhythm where I do 90 minutes of work on, and then I take a half hour off to like eat or stretch or go for a walk or something where I just shut my brain down. And then I do another 90 minutes. I think there's 4 cycles of that in a day. And so depending on what I'm working on, I end my day between 5 and 6:30. One of the things that you do in the program, which I think is really helpful, is you walk through like your ideal life and your ideal schedule and what you want to have. And that was really helpful to me to see that I was not setting boundaries in my whole job. And that I need them for my health and for like my sanity. So for me, I work until 5 or 6. I do Monday through Friday. I don't do anything on the weekend unless it's like I want to, or it's a dire need for some reason, which has yet to happen yet. So, it's kind of like a 9 to 5er with a little bit of wiggle room, and it feels good.
Mm-hmm. So how many clients are you working with right now?
I have a lot in what I call my hopper. Like I have a lot of things that are sort of coming down the line, but in a lot of business, which I think was sort of a reminder that I needed because I didn't think about, was that when you're working with other businesses, things move slowly a lot of the time because, you have to get approval and pay or blah, blah, blah. So I have a lot of people who we have plans to work on stuff. It just hasn't been hit the go button yet, but I'm currently working with 4 or 5 clients on actual things to get done. The first client I actually had through this whole process was a yoga studio who's doing yoga teacher training, and I designed their manual for them. And it was a nice, like, slow dive in. And they actually have come back and asked me to do more work for them already. So it's pretty cool.
So what are some of the struggles that you're noticing with like, freelancing and kind of this new lifestyle?
You can definitely overwork or underwork very easily. It's really easy to just not leave your desk. I'm really bad about taking breaks. Like I don't eat, I don't use the bathroom. I just like tunnel vision for a really long time. So that's why I have built in breaks into my schedule, because otherwise I won't do it. And then you work really late or you wake up really early and you're just like, your wheels are always spinning. So overworking I think is really easy to do, but I also find that after I get done overworking for about a week, I spend the next week underworking because my brain is fried or I'm discouraged, or I have found a way to tell myself that like what I'm doing is not great, so I need to rethink it. So it's definitely a balancing act. There's a middle ground in there, and I am still working on it, but I think I'm a lot closer than I was before.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely, and I think that's pretty true of any freelancer. What are some of the high points? Like, what are some of your like your favorite like if you were to write a book, like these are like your top, 1 or 2 like aha moments, like since kind of going through your freelancing journey?
The moment that you realize you know what you're talking about is a pretty cool moment. So, like I said, I came in knowing I had certain skills that I was good at, but when you talk to a client and you give them a suggestion or you tell them something and they're like, oh yeah, that's a really great idea. That moment is a really cool moment. Or you deliver a draft and they love the draft of whatever it is. That's really cool. And then the other thing I said, for me, being somebody who needs to go to the doctor pretty regularly or like has a lot of appointments surrounding my health, the ability to take those appointments when I want to take them and not have to think about like, will this conflict with my job? Will they think I'm not working very hard? I took an appointment last week. Is it bad that I'm taking one this week? So like the flexibility in there to be able to do what you want to do when you're doing it. And we're refinishing our bathroom right now. And so I can be here when the contractors come, and, just being able to live your life the way you need to live it and not have to worry about like if your employer is mad at you for doing that.
Right on. I think, yeah, freedom is like my favorite part.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your future now, like compared to, where you were when you were working a full-time job, when you were kind of doing that?
It's less stressful. It's like a weird, different kind of, it's more like pressure than stress, right? I'm not stressed out about it. I'm excited about it. I think that I have a lot of potential, which is something that I don't know that I would have verbalized before. But now it feels there's a little bit of pressure because I want to do it. Like I want to make it happen, and I am really excited about it. So all self pressure, no one else is putting pressure on me. But it's this combination of like super excitement, but I just really want to get it right. But I know that it also doesn't have to be right. And if I need, like I said, if I need to start over or do something different, like I have the tools to do that again. So it's this weird combination of like excitement, pressure, but also being reassured that like none of that other stuff matters because you can always do it all over again.
Most definitely. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I like about MPP is that it's an open program. So there's no timetable. Like some programs I've looked at, it's crazy, which I mean, I get what they're doing. They're trying to hurry up and get results and help you get results, but they like do a locked in program where it's like, okay, you can be this program for 8 weeks. And after that, you lose access to the course. And you're like, wait, what? So you really have to get your stuff together. And that's hard because I mean, there's just life, there's birthdays, people get sick, stuff happens, and so the fact that it's open and that you can come back through it and that you can take your time if you need to. The program is geared in 12 weeks, which is awesome. And you can really, like, if you've got the go and the gumption and you've got the space, you can just hustle through. But if you need to take a little longer, like, that's cool too. It's accommodating for that. So tell me, I'm really excited about this part. This is like one of my favorite parts of doing fun interviews is, for those people who are watching MPP or watching this video right now, and they're, maybe they're just getting started on the freelancing journey, or they've been freelancing for a while. Like, what would you say to somebody, like your, like top 2 or top 3 strategies or tactics, or like, let me tell you, this is how you overcome this thing. Like, this is how you do it. Like, what would be a special share from like, something that you do?
I would say definitely one of the things that makes this program unique. There's a lot of things that make this program unique, honestly. Part of it is what you said of like, if you're working a full-time job and you look at a 12-week course and you're like, I'm never going to be able to fit in 2 hours of work every night. Like, you don't have to. And if you get stuck, you can take a break. And if you get stuck, you can reach out to one of the coaches. And I've had to do that where I was really struggling with Facebook ads. Spoiler alert, I kind of still am. But I have reached out to coaches on numerous occasions. And even if it's a technical support or a moral support, like they're willing to give that. And so I think, if you were on the fence about the program because you're worried about the time or the effort or not believing in yourself, your ability to do it, the coaches to me were a game changer in this program, because that's part of why I signed up, was because of the coaching. And in the beginning, it felt a little bit like, when you think coaching, everybody wants like hand holding. And I don't think that coaches hand hold. And so there's a little bit of like reframing the way you think about a coach. And it's making yourself more self-sufficient, but then having somebody be like, yeah, that was the right way to do it. Or rethink about it like this versus I'm going to teach you the whole way to do things. So to me, it was the right level of coaching. So I think, like I said, if you're on the fence, the coaching is a huge aspect of this program, and it's something that for me has helped me get over a couple hurdles that I was just like mentally couldn't wrap my brain around. And then the other thing that I would say is freelancing isn't a do or die kind of thing. Like, you can try something and it can not go well, and it doesn't mean you're bad at freelancing, or it doesn't mean that you should definitely stay at a job that you hate. Like, it's sort of this like abstract world that I think a lot of us are unfamiliar with because we worked 9 to 5s most of our adult lives, and we've had other people telling us what to do in that time frame. So it's a very abstract world, but the beauty is that like you get to create that, what you want the world to look like, and the program helps you do that, which is also really helpful. So, I think if you're dabbling on the fence about freelance, do freelance. If you think you can do it, like definitely do it. But if you're on the fence about the program, for me, the program was the one thing that made me 100% less scared to take the dive. I mean, like I said, a week after I signed up, I was like, well, I hate that job, so I'm quitting now. I have no other job lined up. I don't have a huge savings account, but like, I'm going to believe in myself for 5 seconds that I can do this. And I did, and I'm still here, and I'm still doing it. And it's been hard, but it's so far I've really enjoyed the whole process.
Very cool. Very cool, Jackie. Well, I wanted to say You're amazing and you're kicking butt. And I love doing these interviews because they're super motivational and inspirational for me also. So thanks for being a stormtrooper and like selling forth and showing the way for all the other folks in the MPP community and all the other freelancers and curious people who are watching these and they're trying to figure out what to do. So that's been really cool of you to take a few minutes this morning and to share your story with us. Thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. I mean, honestly, I feel like you guys should definitely give some kind of like high five bonus, because I think I've told a lot of people who don't ever want to freelance about the program. They're probably tired of hearing about it. But I have told a bunch of other people who are interested. I've even had a couple friends sign up for some of the other programs because like I'm speaking like the gospel of NPP, because I just really think that it's made a huge difference in my life, and I've seen the other people in the group and it's made a big difference in their life. And so I think the way that the program is structured and all the things that go into each one of the lessons is done in a really, really well way, and a way that I think makes the whole program very trustworthy and also really productive.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Well, you're awesome. And man, so cool. So you've got the rest of your day. How many, okay, you have to remind me, not circadian. What's the word?
Ultradian.
Ultradian. So you've got how many cycles left to this day before you end?
I have to look at my calendar. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 segments of work time. So 4 90-minute segments.
Wow. Cool.
And then like lunch and then a couple break times. Cause I have it set to go to like my last work session ends at 6. So
that's cool. I'm going to have to look that up because that sounds like something interesting. Like I've heard of Pomodoro method, and now I'm going to Google how to spell that because I know I'm going to get it wrong again.
It's a kind of like Pomodoro. I mean, technically it's supposed to be 90-20, but I am not smart enough to do the math on that, I'll be honest. So I do 90-30. But it honestly, like making the schedule, like building a schedule was really fun for me because I like spreadsheets. Right. But it's also like, it helps. I find, if your brain starts shutting off at 3:00 in the afternoon, I found that my brain started shutting off at like 1 in the afternoon. And so it's all about taking the time to shut your brain down. So it's not even like check your social media, read your email. It's like shut it off, go for a walk, eat some food. Don't even read a book if you can, like literally recharge. And I found that it honestly gets me to the end of the day much more productively, because I think people are worried about 30-minute breaks, but I'm telling you, you get way more done in those 90-minute time blocks.
Most definitely. And I think that's something like everybody can use, like no matter where you're at, is just learning how to schedule and time block and find your productivity levels and just circle your life around those. Mm-hmm. So you're awesome. Thanks so much, Jackie. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the group later.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. Hey, thanks for joining us. Not thanks for having us. I mean, you did kind of have me. And I guess all these other random people who you don't know, like all up in your living room or wherever you are. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.